You want to know what will make a man think about you long after the lights go out, long after he leaves the room, long after his body has been satisfied. It's not just the way you look, not just the way your body moves, not even the way you touch him. What makes him obsessed with you is the way you give him the best brain. And when I say that, I don't just mean the playful slang for oral, though yes, that matters too. What I mean is something far deeper, something that binds itself into his psychology, his emotions, his memory. Because when you give a man the best brain, you're not just arousing his body, you're seducing his mind. And that, my friend, is the difference between being unforgettable and being replaceable. Most women think great sex is about technique, about positions, about being wild enough to make him gasp. And yes, technique is useful. But what men crave more than anything, what they secretly dream about when they think of the best intimacy they've ever had, is the experience. They want to feel chosen. They want to feel worship. They want to feel like you're not just giving them your body, but your whole energy, your whole playful mind, your whole seductive presence. That is what makes a man addicted to you. So if we break this down, there are 5 key points you must understand to give him the best brain he has ever had. 5 pillars of intimacy that transform you from just another hookup into the woman he cannot forget. And if you master these, you will have him chasing you, thinking about you, craving you in ways no other woman ever has. The first is energy. Energy is everything. Men don't remember the detail of what you did. Remember how they felt in your presence. Did they feel admired? Did they feel powerful? Did they feel safe to let go? When you're giving him your attention, when you're down there making him the center of your universe in that moment, it's not just about the physical stimulation. It's about the energy you pour into it. Too many women treat it like a task, like something they do to please him or to get it over with. But when you love it, when you lean into it with enthusiasm, when you give off the vibe that nothing in the world matters more than him right now, he feels it in every nerve of his body. Enthusiasm is the secret sauce. He doesn't just want release, he wants to feel like the most desirable man on earth. That's the first pillar of giving him the best brain, your energy. The second pillar is rhythm. And rhythm is not just about physical speed, it's about attunement. It's about listening to his body the way a dancer listens to the music. A man's body tells you everything you need to know: how his breathing changes, how his hips twitch, how his hands clutch at the sheets or at your hair. The mistake many women make is trying to rush, trying to copy something they saw, or just doing what they think he wants without paying attention. But the best lovers know how to listen. They start slow. They notice what makes him melt, what makes his legs go weak, what makes him moan without even meaning to. They adjust, they experiment, they tease. And the teasing, that's where the magic is, because teasing builds anticipation, and anticipation builds obsession. Men don't want it all at once. They want to feel like you're in control of the pace, like you're savoring him, like you could give him everything right now, but you're choosing to make him wait. That is rhythm. The third pillar is surprise. The male brain is wired for novelty. That doesn't mean you need to pull out crazy tricks every time, but it does mean you should never be predictable. If you always do the same thing in the same order with the same routine, he may enjoy it, but he won't be addicted. Surprise him. Change your pace suddenly. Add in a little eye contact at the most unexpected moment. Whisper something dirty in his ear just as he's about to lose control. Men remember the moments that shock them out of autopilot. They remember the flash of your eyes, the sudden playful bite, the way you moaned his name when he wasn't expecting it. These little surprises wire themselves into his brain like lightning bolts of memory. And they're the things he will think about at work, in the car, when he's lying awake at night. Surprise keeps him addicted to you. The fourth pillar is psychology. Men want to feel powerful, but they also want to feel seen. The best brain is not just about physical pleasure. It's about psychological seduction. Do you let him know how much you want him? Do you let little sighs and moans slip out that tell him he's driving you wild? Do you let your eyes show him that he's in total control, or that you're in total control and he's helpless against you? Psychology is about the story you tell him with your body. Maybe it's the story of him being your king and you worshipping him. Maybe it's the story of you being his queen and him being your devoted servant. Whatever story you tell, it should feed his ego, his fantasies, his desire to feel like he's experiencing something that no one else gets from you. That's the brain he won't forget. And the fifth pillar, the most important of all, is intimacy. Because at the end of the day, the best brain is not just about making him orgasm, it's about making him feel connected. Does he feel like you trust him? Does he feel like you're really there in the moment with him, not thinking about anything else, not holding back, not pretending? Men may act tough, may act like it's just about sex, but the truth is, what makes intimacy unforgettable is when he feels you, when he feels your hands holding him, your breathing sensing with your willingness to be playful and messy and real. That intimacy is the glue that bonds him to you long after the physical act is over. These 5 pillars, energy, rhythm, surprise, psychology, and intimacy, are what transform ordinary encounters into mind-blowing ones. They are what make him think, no one has ever made me feel this way before. And once a man feels that with you, he will never want to let you go. He will chase you, he will crave you, he will see you not just as a lover, but as an addiction. And isn't that what you really want? Not just to please him, but to become unforgettable to him. That's how you give him the best brain. When I tell you that giving him the best brain is about more than what you do with your mouth, I mean it. It's about becoming the woman who knows how to reach into his psychology and turn a simple act into an unforgettable emotional experience. Because the truth is, men may not say it out loud, but they crave something that goes beyond physical technique. They crave to feel wanted, to feel like the center of your universe, even if only for a moment. And if you can master this art, you will create an intimacy that he will compare every other experience against, and none will measure up. Let's deepen into these 5 pillars, because each one, when expanded, reveals the layers of what men truly feel and desire. Let's start with energy. Energy is contagious. If you bring lazy, reluctant, half-hearted energy into intimacy, he feels it immediately. He may not call it out, but inside, he knows when you're just doing it to check a box or to keep him happy. That doesn't inspire obsession. But when you bring playful, teasing, hungry energy, the kind where he feels like you can't get enough of him, his entire body responds. His ego inflates, his mind goes wild, his heart opens. He feels like the luckiest man alive. Think of it this way, men spend their whole lives trying to feel admired, to feel like the hero, to feel chosen. When your energy tells him that he's the man you've been waiting for, that he's the man who can satisfy you, that he's the one who has captured your full attention, that message travels deeper than any physical sensation. It hits his soul. That's why enthusiastic energy is the number one thing men remember. He may forget the exact moves you made, but he will never forget the feeling that you wanted him, that you enjoyed him, that you lost yourself in the moment with him. That is what sticks. Now let's go deeper into rhythm. Rhythm is about attunement, and attunement is intimacy. When you're paying attention to his body, when you notice the little shifts, the tiny sounds, the way his muscles tense or release, you're telling him, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. And that is intoxicating. Men are not used to being paid that kind of attention. They live in a world where they're expected to be strong, to perform, to please. Very rarely does someone slow down enough to study them, to notice what makes them weak in the knees, what makes them surrender. That's why rhythm matters. It's about creating a dance where he feels like he doesn't have to control anything. He can just let go because you are in tune with him. Do you know how rare that is for a man? To not have to lead, to not have to think, to not have to guide, to just be taken care of. That's what rhythm gives him. It's not just pleasure, it's freedom, it's release. It's a reminder that with you, he can let go of the world and just feel. And once he's tasted that, he will crave it again and again. Now let's talk about surprise. Surprise is the spark that makes memory permanent. Human brains are wired to light up at novelty. It doesn't have to be shocking, it just has to break the pattern. And this is where women who are unforgettable shine. They don't settle into autopilot. They don't do the same thing, the same way, every time. They add something unexpected. Maybe it's the way you pause just when he thinks he's about to lose control, making him beg for more. Maybe it's the way you look up at him with a mischievous grin at the exact moment he least expects it. Maybe it's a sudden shift in pace that sends his body into overload. Whatever it is, those moments of surprise brand themselves into his memory like lightning strikes. He'll be sitting at work and suddenly remember the way you moaned his name right before pulling away. He'll be driving in traffic and suddenly feel the flash of that eye contact that made his stomach drop. Surprise keeps the experience alive in his head long after it's over. Without surprise, even great intimacy fades. With surprise, even ordinary intimacy becomes unforgettable. And this leads us to psychology. The brain is the biggest sex organ. If you only stimulate his body, you'll give him release. But if you stimulate his mind, you'll give him obsession. Men's psychology is simple but powerful. They want to feel desired, powerful, and irreplaceable. When you use your words, your eyes, your expressions to show him that he's driving you wild, you're feeding his deepest need. Every moan, every gasp, every look of surrender tells his brain, I am the man. And when you let him feel that, you're giving him the drug he can't buy anywhere else. But psychology goes deeper. It's not just about making him feel powerful. It's about giving him a story. Maybe you tease him with a sense of control, like he's your king and you're worshipping him. Maybe you flip the script and make him feel helpless against your teasing, like you're the queen and he's your devoted servant. Whichever role you play, the story is what makes it memorable, because it's not just an act, it's a fantasy come alive. And fantasies are what men replay in their minds when they're alone, when they're missing you, when they're comparing every other woman to you. Finally, let's go deeper into intimacy. Intimacy is the foundation that makes everything else matter. Without intimacy, it's just technique. With intimacy, it's magic. Intimacy is when you let yourself be fully present, fully vulnerable, fully connected. It's when you hold his hand, when you let your breathing sync with his, when you look into his eyes and let him see you without masks. Do you know how powerful that is? Men may act like they're tough, like they only care about the physical, but what they remember, what truly breaks them open, is the moment they felt your presence. The moment they realized you weren't just performing, you weren't just doing it for them, you were there with them, surrendered, playful, real. That's intimacy, and it is the rarest gift you can give. Because in a world full of performance, real presence is priceless. So when you combine these 5 pillars, energy, rhythm, surprise, that psychology and intimacy, you create something that goes far beyond pleasure. You create an imprint that lives in his memory, in his body, in his heart. That's why giving him the best brain isn't just about what you do. It's about who you are in the moment. It's about the energy you bring, the attention you give, the story you tell, the presence you offer, and that is what makes you unforgettable. Here's the thing about giving him the best brain. It isn't a trick. It isn't a one-time performance, and it isn't something you can fake. It's not about perfection, and it's definitely not about porn-style theatrics that look good on camera, but leave the real experience feeling flat. It's about understanding that what makes a man weak for you is the combination of his physical, emotional, and psychological stimulation all happening at once. You're not just touching his body, you're rewriting his brain. You're etching memories into him that he won't be able to shake, even if he tries. And I want you to picture this. He's lying thereafter, staring at the ceiling, and he's thinking to himself, what the hell just happened to me? No one has ever made me feel like that before. That's when you know you've done it. You've given him the best brain of his life. Because here's the truth. Most women think men don't notice the difference, that as long as he reaches release, the job is done. But men notice, men remember, men compare. And more than that, men long for something they don't even know how to ask for. They want to feel worshipped, desired, devoured, but also seen, understood, connected. When you give him that, when you pour your energy into him with no hesitation, when you show him that you love giving as much as he loves receiving, you're giving him a rare gift. And the rarer the gift, the harder it is to let go of the person who gave it. So let's break this down and push these 5 pillars further than we already have, because this is where the difference lies between good and life-changing. First, energy. If you bring the energy of obligation, he feels it. If you bring the energy of excitement, he feels it 10 times more. Imagine 2 scenarios. In one, you sigh, roll your eyes, and go through the motions. In the other, you pin him down, smirk, and say, I've been waiting for this all day. Which one do you think brands itself into his memory? Your enthusiasm is the gasoline to his fire. Without it, he may still enjoy himself, but he won't be consumed by you. With it, he'll be replaying the moment over and over in his head until he's desperate to have it again. Now, rhythm. Rhythm is about more than speed. It's about storytelling. A song isn't powerful because it plays the same note over and over. It's powerful because it builds, it teases, it crescendos, it pauses, it surprises. Your rhythm is the soundtrack to his experience. When you slow down just when he's about to lose it, you're telling him, I'm in control here. When you speed up unexpectedly, you're shocking his nervous system into surrender. When you sync perfectly with his breathing, you're making him feel like you're inside his head, like you can read him better than he reads himself. That is rhythm, and it is irresistible. Then there's surprise. Surprise is what keeps him hooked. It's the difference between a predictable ride and a roller coaster. Men crave novelty, not because they're shallow, but because novelty lights up the brain's reward system. Give him something he didn't see coming. Maybe it's a playful bite, maybe it's a dirty whisper, maybe it's eye contact so intense he nearly loses control. These micro moments of unpredictability shock his body into paying attention, and they make the experience unforgettable. Remember, this routine fades, surprise lingers. Next, psychology. If you forget everything else, remember this: sex lives in the brain. The body follows, but the brain leads. When you feed his psychology, you're not just pleasuring him, you're programming him. You're telling him you are powerful, you are irresistible, you are mine. Every gasp, every moan, every look of surrender is writing that message deeper into his subconscious. And here's the kicker: when he associates his most intense pleasure with you, you become the trigger for his desire. Every time he thinks about being turned on, his brain pulls up your face, your voice, your body. That's how obsession is built. And finally, intimacy, the last and most important piece. You can have all the technique in the world, but if intimacy is missing, it's just another hookup. Intimacy is what makes him feel safe enough to let go, to lose himself, to feel connected instead of just satisfied. It's in the way you hold his hand while you're driving him wild. It's in the way you laugh with him in between. It's in the way you look into his eyes and let him see that you're not performing, you're present. That presence is more addictive than any move you can pull, because presence makes him feel chosen, and men don't forget the women who make them feel chosen. Now, let's imagine how this looks when it all comes together. Imagine you bring energy, the kind where your hunger for him is undeniable. You set the rhythm, teasing, building, pausing, giving, taking. You surprise him. Just when he thinks he knows what's coming, you flip the script. You play with his psychology, making him feel powerful, irresistible, like the man he always wanted to be. And all the while, you lace it with intimacy, real eye contact, laughter, connection. That combination is lethal. That combination is unforgettable. That combination is the best brain he has ever had in his life. And here's the beautiful part: when you give him the best brain, you're not just giving him pleasure, you're giving him devotion. You're showing him that you care enough to make him feel desired, seen, and consumed. That changes how he sees you. Suddenly, you're not just someone he slept with, you're someone who understood him. You're someone who gave him an experience that touched his body and his soul. And when a man feels that he doesn't want to lose it, he doesn't want to risk never feeling it again, he will chase you, honor you, commit to you. Not because you begged for it, not because you tricked him, but because you gave him what no one else could. So my message to you is this: don't think of intimacy as a performance. Don't think of giving him brain as a chore. Think of it as art. Think of it as the secret power you have to bond him to you in ways words never could. Because men may not talk about it, but they remember it, and they remember the woman who gave them the best brain of their life. They remember the energy, the rhythm, the surprise, the psychology, the intimacy. They remember how it made them feel powerful, adored, connected, alive. And once they've felt that, they will never stop craving it. So the next time you're with him, don't hold back. Don't play small. Don't treat it like a duty. Pour your energy into it. Dance with his rhythm. Shock him with surprise. Feed his psychology. And above all, let intimacy flow through every moment. That is how you give him the best brain. That is how you go from being another experience to being the experience he will never forget. That is how you take ordinary intimacy and turn it into a legend. If this opened your eyes and made you feel something new, then don't just leave it here. Hit that subscribe button right now, because every week I'm giving you the kind of truth about love, sex, and intimacy that no one else is brave enough to say out loud. And trust me, what's coming next will change the way you see men forever. So subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's keep going deeper together.